Hi everybody, I'm Miss Rockwell, and today I'm going to show you how to do two different looks basically by using your grandma's sponge rollers and a hot curling iron. The reason I'm doing this video is because I've got a lot of you sitting in my chair this year at Viva Las Vegas and you're going to have to come to me kind of ready. So here's what I'm going to need you to do to come ready. These tips are really useful for you to either style on yourself or to go to a photo shoot already prepared. So you may be asking yourself, why should I listen to this girl? Who am I? Who am I? I am Miss Rockwell. I've been modeling for about 15 years. I've been doing hair and makeup for about the same amount of time professionally. I have been attending Viva for 15 years. I host the world's largest, most prestigious pinup contest in the world. The world, like big, you know? I have designed for custom-built clothing for the past 4 years. I've been on a few covers of a few magazines.
How many? Like 2 magazines?
More than that. 3?
It was 3?
Many more than that.
6?
Like more than that.
Okay, 10?
So I've been on the cover of a few magazines. Like around 10-ish or more.
Wow.
Since I was...
So she knows what she's talking about.
I'm also in the works of creating my own makeup line, which should be released very soon. I'm going to show you how to get these bouncy curls. I use sponge rollers. And then in a moment, I'm going to show you how to use a hot iron like I did on my friend Stephanie, aka Zilla308.
That's me.
When you go to a photo shoot, some photographers might ask you to come with your hair already prep rolled. What is that? I'm going to show you. This is the easiest way. Depending on your hair's length will depend on the type of sponge roller you should use. I have medium length hair. If you have shorter hair, you're gonna probably want to use the smaller. I have medium, so I'm going bigger. The reason for that is if your hair is really short, let's just say you have your hair about right here, and you try to use a sponge roller, your hair isn't gonna get a lot of body and curl out of it. But if you do it with something like this, you can get a little bit more out of it and a little bit tighter, closer to your head. So for this tutorial, I'm gonna use this one because this is what works in my hair. But for you, you can use whatever you like or whatever works for your hair length. First, what I do is I use either a lightweight styling foam or a lightweight gel. I make sure that my hair is dry, not damp, not wet. You can kind of get it partially damp with a spray bottle, but personally, I prefer it completely dry. And then taking some of the like foam or gel and in sections, kind of getting it damp that way. With the sponge rollers, I actually sleep with them overnight, but let's say your shoot is at 4 in the afternoon, you can set it in the morning and that's totally fine. But believe it or not, these little squishy things are pretty comfortable. You can sleep on them without any problem. After you have put the little foam or some gel in your hair, you're gonna need this comb, or a small comb, but preferably something that's got this little boop, boop, boop. That way you can slice it. You're gonna roll your hair down or back. You're not gonna start from the bottom and go all the way up. We're gonna start kind of mid and then roll. So the amount of sponge rollers that you would use depends on how much hair you have. I have a ton of hair, and so I need kind of a little bit more. But if you have finer, thinner hair, you're gonna take larger sections, and so you won't need as many sponge rollers. In other words, I probably need like 15 to 20, whereas if you have thinner, finer hair, you might only need 10. An important thing to remember is tucking in the ends of your hair into that roll. You don't want the ends to stick out while you're rolling it, otherwise you'll have a crimped end. On one side, I usually have about 2 here, 2 here, and then all the way down, all the way back. So for me, I'm looking at about 15 sponge rollers or so. If you go to the dollar store, you can pretty much find them now in packs of 6. Get a couple of them, get a bunch of them. If you have animals, they might eat them. Have a backup plan. But don't feed them to your animals. They might steal them, but don't let them have them. The other thing you want to keep in mind is depending on the size of the sponge that you actually use, that's about as much hair as you want to part with for the sponge. In other words, if you're working with something that's this thin and you want the curl to be nice and tight, you want to grab sections that are probably about 1 inch wide. If you're doing something that's this, which is a little bit larger, go big, take your sections bigger. This will give you a fuller, bigger body curl, whereas the other one's gonna be tighter and a little bit more Shirley Temple-ish. There is a technique and there is a trick to rolling it. Like I said, you don't want to start from the bottom and roll all the way up if you are looking for a little bit more of a vintage styled look. If you want something that's just really loose waves, then you could do that. The other thing you want to take into consideration is how much product you use and how long you're going to sleep in it. If you want something that's going to last you several days and several hours, a little bit more product and a little bit longer time that you keep the sponges in your hair is going to last you longer. If you only keep it in for a few hours or you don't actually sleep in it, the curl isn't going to be as tight, it isn't going to last as long, but you're still going to get a beautiful curl. So that's why I sleep in it, because I want my curl to last me a few days. And don't worry about if you rolled it and it's too tight and you take it out and it's too puffy. Your stylist can help smooth it out a little bit. It's better to have it too curly and then have us kind of rework it for you than to not have it curly enough and then it doesn't stay for, you know, your photo shoot or whatever else you're going to use it for. And there you have it. How to roll your hair in sponge rollers the way our grandmas did. Point of this is that your curl will be more of a true vintage style. It will have a nice softer traditional wave to it. It'll last a lot longer throughout the day, possibly into the next day or two. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some of my day 1, 2, and 3 of sponge rollers. That's how long it can really last you once you sort of master the technique. This also really helps your stylist if you're going to a photo shoot or a hair appointment and you're kind of pressed on time, or you know it's a really important event and you know your hair needs a little bit more time, or if you have a little bit of trouble for your hair to hold a curl, this is like your godsend. So doing this will not only help you have a better, longer lasting curl, but it'll also help your stylist give you the curls and the style that you really are trying to portray. Another thing too is if you have really, really, really long hair and maybe a whole lot of it, it's gonna take a lot more time for your stylist to do your hair with a hot iron, and it's probably not gonna last as long. So doing this saves her time, saves you time, and just lasts a lot longer. Okay, so I showed you in the first look how to prep your hair using sponge rollers, and now for look 2, I'm gonna show you how to use a curling iron as an alternative on my friend, Stephanie Michelle, AKA Zilla 308.
Hi guys!
308. Alright, so it's the same kind of concept. I'm going to take pretty large sections because I want her curls to be big and sort of more Veronica Lake-ish. Day 2 of your hair, like if it's dirty and you've had product in it, is ideal, but if not, clean hair will work too. And we'll still use the same old foamies that I used earlier, but you never want to have the hair damp and then put a curling iron on it. So don't do that. And go to the next section. I'm using a 1-inch and I'm going to curl the hair backwards. So the same way I rolled the sponge roller, that's actually how I'm going to roll on the hot iron. So notice I didn't clamp it at the end and then roll down. It kind of started from the middle, rolling it around. Clamp it underneath. Again, hiding those ends so that they don't stick out. Roll it down. And you want to leave it on, steam is alright, till the hair gets warm. I use these little mini alligator clamps. Boop, boop. I have my heat, my iron on over 350 degrees because Stephanie's hair is a little bit thicker and coarser, and so I want that heat to really penetrate through. If you have finer hair, thinner hair, don't use heat that hot. Start off a little bit lighter, maybe 280, 300, and then see how that goes. We did all the fun hand gestures the way Vanna White would probably do it. Everybody, so that was it. I hope you learned something super easy. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, again, Miss Rockwell DeVille. You can follow me on Instagram at @TheRealRockwell, because there's fakes. There's only one me. It's the real one, the only one that's on there. Keep watching, subscribe, because I'm about to make some more videos with my beautiful friend, Stephanie.
Oh, comment below if you have any questions for Raquel.
You know.
She will answer them.
I'll answer them.
She will type out answers to you. Like that.
And I answer. See you next time.